Hello. I literally don't.
I don't know.
Okay. Welcome to our. Nope, that's not how it goes.
Welcome to
our open tabs.
I'm Mara.
I'm Jess, and the world is a mess. So as we talk about what tabs we have open, this is very fitting and timely because I think it's most of what tabs we have open, or the newest tabs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, we know that we're usually here for some jolly japes, some fun. Today is not going to be fun. So
no hot goss.
No.
Just, yeah, we were talking about it and like, it just felt weird to not acknowledge what is happening. Yeah. And so this is kind of us, I guess, talking through our feelings, kind of. This is not meant to be preachy, but
I mean, I can't promise I'm not going to whip out a Bible and start shaking it, like the little portable ones that you shake at people. Like,
but yeah, just real talk. So
yeah, well, if you've not figured out from the title / I'm sure the thumbnail and whatever
that's gonna be,
we're gonna be talking about genocide, ethnic cleansing, war crimes, all kinds of things. And so it's a lot. And I think part of what we will probably talk about is that I think especially for those of us in the West and the US, UK, etc., I do think it's important for us to stay connected on this because this is being done in our name with our tax dollars, but it is also a lot. So
yes.
We're trying to be better about pacing ourselves on this issue. So if you just, I mean, we're going to be talking about some like really horrifying, really sad stuff. So like
worse than our normal child. I mean, this is child abuse in the highest order, honestly. I mean, and murder.
Yeah. Child abuse embargo is officially lifted for this one because it's like state sanctioned.
And I would like to say that obviously there's lots of videos online, TikTok and Instagram, probably on the app formerly known as Twitter. I don't be there anymore. But I feel like I've seen, it is a very small minority of people, but I think what's important is that there is grace given to people, because people are like, why is no one, why is no one talking about this? Or how didn't you know? Or all of these things, because we're all, like, as you said earlier during the message, was like, we did not evolve to process all of it. And not even just talking about what's happening now, just all of the things that are always happening.
Yeah.
So, and I'm putting myself in there because I think the last time it was a big conversation was like 2020 or 2021, maybe.
I think 2021. Yeah.
Because I remember talking about like in a video and how it came up with like authors and stuff. And I'm pretty sure if you go back and watch those videos, I was saying the things like, oh, it's so complicated and this conflict and like, so we have to, people, at least give them a chance to learn something and
yeah. The indoctrination runs real deep, at least here in the US, and I'm assuming we'll probably talk about some of that, but also like, I don't know, I, as a very privileged person who has like completely changed my mind about most important topics, I'm very aware that people can change their minds. Mm-hmm. Like people can change their minds, people can learn and like do better. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes it's scary for people, especially if they've like said publicly in some sense, like, this is my opinion about something, to say that they've changed their mind. And like, you can, like, the water is fine. Come on in.
Yes.
None of us asked. The metaphor that I like best for like all of the indoctrination and isms that we inherit is one that Emily Nagoski talked about with like sexual shame and like sexual issues, which is like when we're born, each of us gets a garden, and our parents and the government and religious institutions and culture, like all these different forces have planted all these seeds in our garden, and we didn't get to choose what those seeds were. They just start growing. And what our responsibility is as we grow to decide what we actually want to let to continue to grow versus what we want to get rid of.
Yeah.
So like
that's good. I like
this
that.
Yeah, I mean, as a white woman born in the South in evangelicalism, homophobia, racism, like all the isms were given to me, and I didn't choose any of those. But what I did get to choose was to become aware of them and start to like weed them out.
And it can be hard.
It's very hard.
Especially, I guess, depending also on who, because for me personally, I'm not around the majority of people that I grew up around. So I think that has helped lots of things that were planted in my garden. But I think if people, especially you stay around that, maybe you're still very close to your conservative family or whatever, or in your small town, then it's even harder and it feels scarier to look into things and be like, oh my God, I have a different opinion. I don't think this is. So just saying, like, it's okay to take a moment and be like, because I feel like that Israel-Palestine conflict is like embedded in my brain from, God. I don't even remember a specific time learning about it. I've just always heard that. And I didn't even, for the longest time, and it's embarrassing because I've been an adult for a long time, that I didn't know, like, when Israel was created. That was so recent, and the Nakba and all of the things. So, like, it's okay not to know. What I don't think okay is to, like, continue to just be like, oh, well.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I don't know enough about it. Whatever.
Yeah. And I think, like I've been on a journey to the left for a long time. And like as a part of that journey, when I got my welcome kit, one of the things was like, oh, by the way, like what you've been taught about Israel Palestine, like not actually what's going on, like it's fucked up. So like I think I had mentally been like, okay, yeah, like that's colonialism, bad. Cool. Okay. But like I think I'm feeling and have been processing a lot of shame and grief over not really doing the like emotional engagement with this issue until now. Frankly, because there's so much suffering in the world that I think if it's not impacting you, it's easy to just like not really go there. But I feel deeply ashamed at how little empathy I have had for the Palestinian plight to this point.
Yes, because we're talking about it now. A lot of people are. I mean, I'm glad. But I also, I can understand. I haven't seen this from a lot of people, but I can understand the frustration of like, this isn't new. We've been here. We've been talking about this. But same, and it's very easy, even in our privileged Western first world problems, to get caught up in your own shit because that's still real. Like even, I don't like the. I'm not going to say the oppression Olympics, but when sometimes when people invalidate your feelings because they're like, well, like my mother would say, there are starving children in Africa, or like, and it's like, yes, but your feelings are still valid. So it's just very easy to be like, I'm caught up in this. I cannot. And I know some people say are still saying that now. And so I just want to say, as a depressed girly, like very anxious, girly, depressed girly, that there are ways, and obviously I can't tell anybody what to do. I don't know how anyone's mental health manifests. Everybody's different, but I still think there are ways to be aware, to inform yourself and not doom scroll. Like, I don't want anybody to do what I be doing because I just be laying in bed crying for hours. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Yeah, we're I've been doing like a dosage, like I'll watch for 20 minutes. Well, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but like this one in particular I think is really difficult because I mean like part of the transition to TikTok. So like Twitter, I feel like was kind of the public square for these kinds of international news events, and it still is somewhat, but you know, it's all text-based for the most part. But like TikTok, I'm watching somebody who's literally like cowering in rubble, watching bombs go. Like that is just a lot for in the human brain to process, and you can't process it 24/7. Like you just can't.
No.
It's horrifying that these people are being forced to, because this is something they can't escape. But that doesn't, it's not necessarily productive for you to like recreate that experience via TikTok.
Can tell you, not a good idea. Lots of headaches, puffy eyes. But I also I saw there was a TikTok and I shared it on my Instagram because it was someone saying like, you need to take breaks, because I felt very guilty to look away. I'm like, I don't like, I'm just like, I'm watching it on my phone in my bed inside. So I'm like,
and
if I
these
feel
people
shitty,
are asking from me is to watch.
But there is a level, you know, at a time where it's not going to be productive for anybody because you're going to burn yourself out or have, you know, any kind of negative reaction. So I personally am still working on that balance. But I guess if someone is watching this and they haven't said anything about it or haven't looked into it, what would you want to get? Like, what would you want them to get out of this little video here? If they just watch us and us normal flapping gums.
Well, please don't just let this be the only thing you watch, is the first thing. Because
please,
we're really going to just be reacting, assuming that you've had some level of engagement in the history and or news cycle. But I would say that what we're reacting to today is the escalation of the genocide/ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people by the Israeli government. Now, I want to be really clear that we are not talking about Judaism and we are not talking about Jewish people, because there are a very wide variety of opinions about Zionism within Judaism. Being against the Israeli government is not being anti-Semitic. My closest extended family is a blended Jewish Christian family. Like, I feel like that was like my best friend is black. But I just want to say, like, it is like anti-Semitism to me is personal. It is a part of my family's story.
I really hate that conflation because I feel like just it immediately shuts down conversation, and it's like, no, to be an Israeli does not equate to you being like, they're not the same. They are not you know, they're not exclusive. So hard same on that.
If you are using this as an excuse to be like, yes, this is why Jewish people are bad, then like you're a dumb anti-Semite who's just looking for an excuse to perpetrate your own bigotry.
And there
for
are
other
those
reasons.
people out there. I think
they are. They're a small but vocal minority.
With these celebrities and people who are making these exaggerations, like, it exists. There are people who are anti-Semitic, who are anti-Jewish. Hello, we know this exists. But it is not the majority of people that I see or follow on social media who are calling for free Palestine, are nothing about take down this group of people. This group of people. It is talking about this government and us Western governments that support this government trying to exterminate an entire group.
I mean, let's, like, if we want to really take it back, so we're specifically talking about the escalation of genocide that was in response to a terrorist attack from Hamas that happened in early October. There's a lot of tinfoil hat conspiracies out there that the far right-wing Israeli government let that happen so that they would have an excuse to do what they're now currently doing. At the time of this recording, that cannot be confirmed or denied, but let's just say that the retaliation for that has been disproportionate, also completely antithetical to retrieving the hostages that were taken as a part of that. Like, if one of my family members were one of those hostages, I would be furious. Anyway,
it just doesn't seem smart at all.
Well, yeah, and this is really just an escalation of the ongoing violent apartheid that has existed in the Palestinian region since 1948. And if we want to talk about like who's to blame, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me, says the UK/the US. Because really, what this is a failure of Europe to provide reparations to Jewish people in Europe, and instead allowing colonialism to be perpetuated on the Palestinians, essentially like as white guilt.
Yeah, they're like,
Like,
well,
we really fucked up
what
letting
about
this
over here where there's
whole
brown people?
Germany thing so our bad. That was on us.
Yes.
So let's support you. Now, this is one thing that really fucks me up, Jess. It is the descendants of the survivors of the Holocaust who are doing this to people. And it is that really, really breaks my heart. Like, it's so disgusting that we could not deal with this. We, being the Western European world, could not deal with their own anti-Semitism at the time and place. And this is what it has led to. More violence, more colonialism, more apartheid, more genocide.
The West gonna West.
Yeah.
Time and time again. It's... Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all already know. I'm no historian. I'm no political aficionado. I don't have a PhD in international relations. Nothing. I'm a regular schmegular girl. Seeing this, but I've learned a lot this time around. I've been learning a lot more about like the history, like you said, and like how it became, and who was involved, and the Nakba, and all of. I'm just like.
There are literally people's grannies walking around with the key around their neck of the house that they just got booted out of in 1948.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand. And I saw someone made a TikTok about this, and I can't remember what exactly they said, because people were saying the same thing. Like, I don't understand when we said never again, re the Holocaust, and how this is happening. And they're like, just speak like... exactly how did they say it? Not like trauma or people who were being oppressed doesn't prevent you from oppressing other people or something like that. And I'm like,
yeah,
but it just seems so.
It feels like another layer of failure from what was already like a generation, like a world defining failure.
Yeah.
Like the Holocaust to me represents like the mechanization of human depravity and cruelty. And it's just really, I think that it's like, so reading a lot of the Holocaust philosophy, like philosophy that it resulted from the Holocaust vis-a-vis like postmodernism and things like that, has been really formative to my like adult conceptualization of the world. And I think like integrating Palestine as a continuation of the Holocaust has been really disturbing and yeah, like unsettling, heartbreaking, just further like how like it makes that event even more fucked up. And I don't mean to like center the Holocaust in a discussion about Palestine, but I guess like as an American, you're so taught about that particular historical event.
Mm-hmm.
So that was sort of my way into some of the emotional connection to this time around. And that's probably in some part because like we're taught, like I'm sure I have a lot of internalized Islamophobia, so that I'm realizing him as we're talking right now, like it probably says something that was sort of my emotional...
in America,
yeah,
and especially to be a child during or post 9/11.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
literally the only messaging we were getting. It was like, America good. These people, I mean, ow, Nigel, sorry. I had a really good friend in high school. And her last name was, like, her full last name was like Haji Aga Musini. Her family was from Iran, but she had an older brother, but her parents had to like shorten their name, and like they went by very like Americanized first names because of just all the threats and things that they got. And I mean, like, her parents grew up there, but like her and her brother lived in America their whole life. They were normal Southern preppy kids, you know, wearing Hollister and
flipped up collars.
Yes, and had their, you know, our double polos or whatever, played on the soccer team, and yet people, you know, they had to change their names because of the rhetoric that's in America that was like, you know, how everyone's like, you see anyone and maybe they have a turban on or their name's Muhammad, you got to be scared of them. So that was okay. America may not care about education, but they care about indoctrination. Okay?
Yeah,
and they did that well.
Oh yes, yeah, the indoctrination of Islamophobia and of like virulent pro-Zionism. Like it never even occurred to me until I started moving more to the left politically that like, oh, you mean like Israel just isn't the good guys?
Yeah.
Basically, like that's just so drilled into your mindset of like, oh, they're the good guys over there amidst,
and they're dealing with these
just
people.
Absolute shenanigans. Like, what are they supposed to do?
Wow.
Yeah.
And just also, I didn't like I obviously like knew Jewish people growing up. I didn't ever go to like a bar or a bat mitzvah, but I remember, dang it, I'm blanking on what I literally just lost my. Oh no, I remember hearing a birthright. But for some reason, I didn't know until I was older that there were so many people who are just like from the U.S. who just like moved there.
I did not realize that either until yeah.
This is my home. What do you mean? You're from Virginia.
You're from. I saw somebody from Brooklyn who's like an ultra Zionist being interviewed.
Lots of Brooklynites up in there.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
I think your family's from Sarasota, Florida.
Okay? Yeah, like I'm pretty.
So, and there's been a lot of, I don't know what videos you've seen. We've probably seen a lot of the same things. I feel like we have very similar FYPs.
Yeah.
But
it's like period syncing, except the social media version.
I've seen a lot of videos being stitched by people who know a lot more about religion than I do, because of people saying that Jewish people are indigenous to that area and them talking about that. And so even not even getting into that, but see, it's going back to the no, but you, Joshua, are from Brooklyn. Like, how does that make you go? Like, even if we are like, I don't want to get into the indigenous part of who's indigenous to the land and stuff, but it's just like, how do you go to someone who's currently living there and have a home and they just get kicked out because you're from Brooklyn, but you're like, yo, I'm Jewish, so I'm here to take this crib.
I saw somebody today and I was like, this is a great point of like, this is by this logic, white Americans need to just like haul ass back to Europe and start taking shit.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole family's from the British Isles. Do I just get an Irish castle? Like, can I just go and take one?
Yes. Someone had a video and they were like, they basically were going on that point. I don't know, it could be the same video or maybe I sent it to you. But he was like, I mean, actually, this all makes sense. Like, colonialism in Africa, I mean, we're all from Africa.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess they just, were going. And it's like,
oh, okay. It's all clicking now.
I get it. It's just like,
well, and it's like some of these like ultra pro Zion Americans, I'm like, okay, well, so like if I'm in the South, so like if a Cherokee person shows up and is like, this is my house, are you cool with that?
Oh no, they would not be.
I mean,
I'd be like, you know what, you're right. I don't know what else to say. Like, it just.
It's bizarre logic. And like, yeah, I feel like I could get into the whole indigeneity thing because I do have a degree in religion. So I feel like I could, at least from what we know about ancient Judaic peoples / Canaanites.
I've heard that word a lot.
We could talk about that, but I think there's other people who are smarter and have said it better. But let's just say that like, if any, like, I guess be mad at the Romans is kind of my answer to Jewish people of European descent.
Such a Roman Empire to be
like, yeah, because there's been Jewish Palestinians. People who did not leave during the diaspora. I think they were about 3% of the population in that region. So like,
I think also just as a thing where, and I am no expert on like race, ethnicity, religion. I feel like certain ones are very
especially
clear.
like an ethno-religion.
Yes,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
especially because Jewish is both a religion and an ethnicity, right?
Yeah,
so then
yeah.
that gets, and there's Arab Jewish people, and there's so that
white
is,
Jewish people.
yes,
There's, and like whiteness itself is like a construct that like Jews,
yeah,
the Jewish population is like uniquely a really good use case to show how like subjective whiteness is, but like there are certainly like Jews who are treated as being white and
yep,
Jews who are not.
yep,
It's a spectrum.
yep, and they're so so it's just like,
Yeah. That whole thing is complicated. That's actually complicated. If people want to talk about things being complicated, I'll give you that.
Yes.
That is
watching
complicated.
a video and I was like, what? And they were talking about, because I know like terms and stuff like Mizrahi Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, which I think Ashkenazi are European.
Yes, that's why I have like a 80% chance of getting breast cancer before I'm 50. I get to get a boob MRI for the first time this year. Yeah. Godspeed. Side note, for the boob MRI, apparently they have a table with a hole cut out of it, and you just lay there and your boobs dangle. She offered to give me a Valium to go in there, and I'm like, do I need it? And she's like,
I take it.
Want it.
I take
it. Okay. Anyway, side note.
Wow.
For some reason, Ashkenazi Jewish heritage like really has a high incident rate of breast cancer. Hey, fun fact if people don't know.
I always find it interesting, I guess is the word, where they're different, ethnic groups have higher things of
Yeah.
It's just it's unfortunate, but it's just an interesting thing.
Like sickle cell being associated with African American, or I don't even know if is it all African descent or just African Americans?
I think it's more, and now I feel so ashamed because I learned about this in college as a health major, and now I don't remember. But in America, it's mostly the Black folks.
The way you said health was really funny.
I don't know why. Health major.
Okay, and this infographic says in the United States, 90% of people with sickle cell disease are Black or African descent, but there are people of various ethnicities. And when I was looking up, I was refreshed with a lot of people who come from areas that have high rates of malaria have sickle cell, because sickle cell, it like prevents or helps, I think it like something that like prevents malaria, like the shape of the cells. And so then if people who survived malaria because they had sickle cell obviously survived more often than people who didn't, and then they would pass that on to their descendants. And so people who are in areas, so also this is sub-Saharan Africa, but also some parts of like southern like southeastern Asia and South America. So not just Black people, but in the United States, it's primarily Black people. And this is a very basic explanation. Whatever, go Google it if you have more questions.
God dang it! I had, you know what? At one point, I could have given you a good spiel,
a full like.
Here
it is. Yeah,
that's why they can have that degree back. What have I done?
You can have it back and also cancel my student debts
immediately.
Yeah. Anyway, all that to say, yes, there's Mizrahi Jews, there's Ashkenazi Jews. Yeah.
Yes. Is Sephardic another?
I believe so.
Sephardic Jews. So this has nothing to do with anything except that I really loved Babysitter's Club when I was growing up, and I remember in the later books when I think it was Abby came in.
Yes,
and I
Abby
was reading it,
was
and I was like, I wanted to be Jewish because I wanted to help.
Well, fun fact, in my fundamentalist evangelical school, we were taught that Jesus cannot come back until the Jewish people are living in Jerusalem, and the gospel is slowly making its way back to Jerusalem. Right now it's in China. And when the Jewish people who are living in Jerusalem convert en masse to Jesus, he will return.
Wait, why was it in China?
That's just like where the most converts were happening at the time. I don't know if that's actually true. That's just what I was taught.
That is something.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, all that to say, like we would do like Passover as fundamentalist Christians.
Really?
Like there's a real fascination with Jewish culture within evangelical fundamentalism because it's seen as like
That's
I
so
think it's like
interesting.
yeah. But anyway, if you're wondering why a lot of conservatives are virulently pro-Israel, that is a big part of why. Like it's actually deeply anti-Semitic the reason why they are pro
That
Zionism.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm sure he's really proud of the genocide that's happening right now. So.
Love thy neighbor.
War crime thy neighbor. Bomb thy neighbor's hospital. Cut off thy neighbor's water supply.
My thing is, and this is kind of everything we've been talking about like the never again and having people who have survived the Holocaust and just everything, you know, that's gone on in the existence of humanity. I feel like
last, you know, however many thousands and millions of years. Okay, cool.
We are at a very because so I was thinking about this the other day because I was watching a video of I don't know, it looked like an apartment building being bombed because that seems anyway. And for some reason it made me think about, so I was revealing my age here in middle school when 9/11 happened. As I remember it, I mean, every channel. I remember going home being pissed that Nickelodeon and Disney were not playing because everything was just a loop of the planes crashing into the building.
Yeah.
And so then became, you know, the indoctrination plan. But everything was given to us by the news. By, like, sure, there might be images in a magazine or in the newspaper. But this, even like 2021, was different. Like, this is literally, like you said, the people there. Like, they're here. Here's a bomb that was dropped over here. And, like, it's just such a unique...
They're talking to you, and in the background, you can just hear...
Yes, you see the sky, you see them, you're seeing parents with their children or people with their loved ones. I'm just like... So, I feel like even more flabbergasted that it's so apparent. It's not secondhand.
No.
It is literally on your smartphone in 4K. You can pause, you can rewind, you can zoom in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean you don't believe what's going on, or that it's like, or that they deserve it, or like take out, like, don't even bring up Hamas. It just is like,
I don't want to hear about Hamas from anyone. No. My tax dollars have never funded Hamas, to my knowledge. If they did, it was probably because Netanyahu actually wanted Hamas to grow. And anyway, that's a whole other thing. I don't want to hear about it because Hamas is literally a terrorist organization that exists only. They exist solely because of the pre-existing conditions that the Israeli occupying force has created.
Some guns and
a potato launcher, like I don't even know.
On the best day. So I'm just like, in true American fashion, just a few days ago there was another mass shooting, and they didn't find him immediately. I think it was maybe the next night. This happened in Maine, and he killed a lot of people, like 15 to 20 people.
Yeah, I didn't even fully check into that one.
I mean, who has the? Yeah. I saw it.
It happens so frequently that I'm like, I don't even.
It was like a TikTok live of like the news or something, and I was like,
yeah. It does make sense now why I saw people saying I'm in Maine and I'm okay. That it's all
because he drove to like multiple locations and were just like shooting people like a bar. And he was in the military because now he's dead. He killed himself. But someone was like stitched a thing of that video, and they're like, okay, so. Think about this, and I can't remember the size comparison of Gaza. I think it's like the size of Washington D.C. or maybe it's bigger.
It's not big.
And they're like, so let's take this guy was on the loose. So I guess you just bomb all the neighborhoods in Maine so you get him.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying.
Sense, right?
That's why I'm saying like the hostage thing. I would be furious if one of my ones was in.
I'm like, how are you worried about the hostages that are over here where you're bombing?
They aren't. They don't care about that. I mean, because what you would do if you actually cared about like de-escalating and like eliminating the specific threat that actually happened is you would have some sort of special op that would go in and unfortunately there's a decent chance some civilians would be killed in that, which would be awful,
but it'd be more targeted.
It would be more targeted, and you would also like it's not right, but at least like it's within the realm of understandability of like in this op something went wrong versus just like, oh, okay, well,
they're basically like, I think
blow
it's
it
over
up.
here. I think it's wait, no, like
So John the
get so
Duncan
mad.
just released a great video defining genocide. Highly recommend people watch it because he kind of talks through the legal and institutional definition versus the original philosophical meaning. Yes, we can link that.
Okay.
And one of the things he flagged that just got released is that there's a intelligence document that was leaked from within Israel that specifically says their intent is to drive all 2.2 million Palestinians into the desert or into Egypt so that that land has no Palestinians on it. Like that is their, I think that the date on that was like the 13th, I think, of October. That is their goal.
Yep.
So like they can bomb wherever because their goal is to just get off, make everyone leave.
It's just like the other day, maybe it was 2 days ago. And it was like one of my times where I like had reached my breaking point for that day. Okay, I'm so sorry. Why does the IDF have a TikTok? I'm so sorry.
I hope we were going to talk about this because my God, the memes.
Like the U.S. Army. But like, and I'm sure maybe they have a Twitter or something, but that'd be like every base we have or every deployment, they're like, and I'm sure they do. But this is the TikToks are driving me up a wall. I'm like, not
day
you doing
in
a
the
mukbang
life
with McDonald's. Not you doing a mukbang with McDonald's with a fresh set.
Not you
shaped nails.
Doing a gluten-free baking run vlog.
Please. Day in my life, War Edition. Are you serious?
Not you doing TikTok meme, like trending sound dances in uniform.
We've heard of girl math. Have you heard of Hamas math?
Oh my!
Stop it.
Put a finger down.
But are you serious? Aren't you busy?
Be so fucking for real. This is so disgusting.
I don't know which is worse. They're all terrible. But when I remember seeing the day of my life, like, they're out of gluten-free bread. And somebody was like, wow, how ableist of you. You don't care that there could people with celiac.
I do not care if there's an IDF person having the shits right now. I don't. Maybe that makes me unfeeling.
She's like, oh, wow. Just, we had to go all around. And luckily the stores let us come in the back and get some gluten-free. And we had to make them cakes and cookies. And it's just like.
Did you see the Israel official at Israel on Twitter, because I will not call it X, on Twitter, had a partnership with BetterHelp?
No, I'm going to go ahead and delete myself from the earth. Excuse me? No. What's funny is not funny is
I hope it was a joke. Inbox. I don't know.
Okay. That I wouldn't be
I hope it was a joke, but I saw multiple. If it was not clear that it was a joke. So
I'm like, the amount of money that's being spent on their propaganda campaign is crazy.
And they're still losing, and I love it. They were winning at first, and it was really upsetting.
Yes.
I had a lot of mutuals.
At Israel on Twitter, because I'm like, why am I getting sponsored posts from y'all? That's crazy.
Not even just from them though. Like a lot of my mutuals, I was so upset. It was, but I think people are seeing more images. I think people are connecting some dots.
The tide is changing at social media, at least. It has, but the one that like all the videos from the idea, I can't. But though, they're a couple days ago after they had bombed their communication center, so it was. On TikTok, I see this video from this person, his big ears. And he is speaking in English, very important, and saying this
Many
is an
of these are in
important
English.
military announcement. Okay, why is it on TikTok? Please, quickly. How are they going to see it? Even if they did have communications, sorry, I don't think
you're on an internet blackout.
Military information should be shared on TikTok.
Well,
and then not even the major language that they speak. It's not in Arabic. Oh, but then I was like, oh wait, they dropped leaflets. So nice. They're like, hey, you should leave here. We're gonna bomb here soon. XOXO.
And it's like, where am I going?
They're like, go to the South.
If I'm a child,
bomb the South.
If I'm a child in the hospital,
where are you going?
Where am I going? My parents are dead.
People. And then they already have seen that you've bombed ambulances and people as they're moving. Yeah. So where
they go? I mean, and I know there's that big controversy about if they bombed that one hospital, but like they literally admitted to bombing it earlier that day. Not that tweet that got to, like, there were 2 separate bombing incidents at that hospital, and it was confirmed that they did the first one. So like, you are bombing hospitals, my friends. So like, I don't. What ain't clicking? What's not clicking?
I'm so tired of
I don't know what to tell you.
Israel-Hamas war. Let's delete that.
No.
Let's
war
delete
where?
That.
War where? No, I'm not disputing that Hamas is a terrorist organization. But also, like, I'm not saying this is my best friend said this, and I was like, that is exactly right. She's like, it's not prescriptive to say that you can only push people so far before they fight back, but it is descriptive. That is descriptively what will happen. Mm-hmm. Like, if you push people and like rob them of all dignity, all humanity, and you make them feel like there's no hope and there's no solution, like, descriptively what will happen is Hamas. Like, period.
Yeah. But people are like, I've just seen so much. And that sounded really gross. That sounded just very like, oh my God, I've been through so much. I haven't. Well, I've just seen a lot of images.
I've seen more dead children in the last few weeks than I ever wanted to see in my entire life.
I have seen some really graphic images that are
very graphic
into my brain. Yeah. Of babies.
Yeah. And the first time I got upset, babies,
40 y'all are talking.
These alleged, and it's, again, I'm not disputing that probably children were killed, or like certainly children were killed on the Israeli side, which is horrible.
Yes.
My goal is zero. My goal, but my desire is 0 children
on their side. It's like, how is it not horrible that now a whole school year they've canceled because, I mean, they don't have anywhere to have school, and also they've lost so many children that there's not enough. If they did have schoolhouses to continue, like the list. Oh, Genocide Joe and your punk ass trying to be like, I don't know if that's accurate. Oh, what?
That was...
Why don't you go over there then and count, motherfucker. The leathery paper fucking puppet being held up by strings. Oh my God, I hate this man so much.
Did you see that clip of him when he was young talking about how if Israel didn't exist, we would have to... That was like some of the most like President Snow evil... And like all presidents, I know they're all bad. Yep. But it's just like in those moments, it's like, oh God. Like the only one I'm convinced might be an okay, maybe is an okay person is Jimmy Carter. That's the only one.
That's what I was gonna say. That's who I was gonna say.
It's just Jimmy, because like there's a great clip of him going to Palestine and being like, the fuck. Anyway.
The rest, I'm like,
all of them.
But I watched a video. Excuse me, and it was only part 1 of like, she had many, because she was going through and reading everyone's name on the list. And
oh my God.
She started with the kids, and I was like, I'm just gonna listen to this. And you listen, and even if you don't understand Arabic, you keep hearing the same last names because
entire families. I forget how many families it is now, but it's like, I think in the hundreds of families that literally there's no one left. Like,
entire
aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, cousins, mom, dad, like it's just gone.
Because like before, like same with like just hearing things that I always knew, like Palestine, Israel conflict. I've heard of West Bank. I've heard of the Gaza Strip. But I did not realize until recently what Gaza Strip actually is. That it was such a small space, that they were literally trapped inside of there, and how in the last, I don't know what, 10 years it's been cut off, like they bombed their airport. They have no military. They're
not allowed to bring in concrete to build
wells.
anything.
Yes. They don't have water. They've been drinking, like recently I saw videos of them going to like the ocean to get water, salt water.
Yeah. They have desalination plants that they've like cut off, so there is they've
been using vinegar in hospitals. They've been doing surgery by cell phone light. Like when I went in to have my surgery on Monday, the previous surgery I had, I was like loopy and knocked out before I went into like the actual room. But this one, I was still awake, like under the lights, and all I could think of was like, look at all of this light. And this is not life-threatening. This is not, like, this is like, oh, I'm moseying in here to get this done. There are people's lives on the line, and they are under a cell phone light trying to operate.
Children are having amputations without any anesthesia. I mean, it's listening to some of the doctors and nurses and like medical professionals who are breaking down like what's going on and how awful it is and like how horrifying. I mean, and when you're gosh, this is something else I think we've been doing pretty good not crying, I have to say. Because I'm a cry. It takes nothing for that. But like the doctors talking about like you take like they're not going to leave their patients. Like they're just not, like if you're in those conditions, you are not going to leave your patients because like they have taken an oath and they take that really seriously. And like listening to the medical professionals here in the US and like elsewhere, I guess, talk about like how just even thinking about those conditions is giving them nightmares. Like,
I'm sure you've seen videos. I think it's Nurse Connor, maybe. He's Palestinian.
Yes.
And he was saying so much of modern medicine is machines.
Yes.
That's how we keep people, like he was going through all of the things, which, I knew half of the language, not all of it. I'm not a medical professional, but saying just like all of the different things.
And exactly.
Like we have this on that's breathing for them. Okay, we don't have this and now I'm doing this, but I need to hang an IV. How do I do? And it's like, do you give up on that or help a colleague who has a better chance at saving? And so I continue to not understand when, especially, I hate when people, not hate, but, people are emphasizing how many children have died, which is horrific. But I'm like,
it's the easiest thing we can connect to, I think.
But yet, it's still not enough because there's still been over 3,000 children who have died. I have seen images that I will never get out of my brain of these babies. I may not want them.
Literal infants.
They're not innocent and precious and have not had time to live, or however, maybe they're 4 or 5. This is all they've known. Yeah. Because I didn't realize how young the population of Gaza was.
I didn't either.
And so I'm like, but how does it keep being? It's just like America, so it makes sense why they're backing Israel, because they're always talking about protect the children and the children. But it's like here, they're showing you the children are dying and you don't care.
Yeah.
So
what's not clicking? I mean,
I don't. But I don't know. I just feel so angry. I mean, I don't know. I don't think angry's enough. I feel
ashamed. That really is the word, because it's in my
support this.
It's my government that is enabling this to happen. Like the UK started it with the partitioning, and then it's the US now that we are who funds it. We are the ones, like Israel swinging a big dick around because of the US. Like, I mean, they wouldn't be talking this stuff if they didn't know they had Uncle Joe ready to.
Ugh. And like, don't get it twisted, people. Ain't nothing about, because the US in a very general, not saying to every person, still very anti-Semitic, very anti-Jewish.
Oh, 100%.
It ain't nothing about that.
100%.
It's about the location and the military, because they're right there.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, who literally believes the conspiracy theory that Jewish people have space lasers, is also virulently pro-Israel. So that should just tell you everything you need to know.
Just, oh my God. And I just hate it so much. And I've been calling my raggedy ass representatives.
I'm not even doing that, honestly, because I live in fucking Tennessee and my senator is Marsha Blackburn.
Look,
but I have been donating.
I had Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Lindsey Graham.
Okay.
But
right.
yeah, just and you know what's so frustrating? I feel like when big things happen around the world, that usually if you do a little bit of research, you usually can find a way that aid is actually getting to the people. But there's nothing can get in. Like they control even a truck of water or flour to get into Gaza. So it's even like, what can I know there are foundations where if when they can send it in, but I'm like, I can't even get anything to them at the moment.
I mean, but like in terms of lobbying, I mean, like that really, what I've heard is protesting, which unfortunately, because of my autoimmune condition, I just am not well suited to do.
Yeah.
To go protest live, but I can that and donating and like keeping sharing on social media. Those are like the three things that seem like actually are doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the aid situation is absolutely disgusting. The U.S. was the one who vetoed a ceasefire so that humanitarian aid could get in. Love that for us. Uncle Joe's plan is $100 million of humanitarian aid to Gaza and 14.3, I think, billion dollars to Israel so that they can have best in class defense. I'm like, so you just let me make sure I'm understanding. So you want us to give 14 point whatever billion dollars of U.S. taxpayer money to Israel, but you can't cancel student debt. You know, we have an unhoused crisis in the U.S. in many cities. We can't help them.
Drug crisis, which is directly related to that.
Opioid crisis. Yep. I mean, we have any number of things we could use that money for here.
We don't have it.
You literally could even just like don't give money to either side, and I would be happier with that.
But no, and that's in addition to their regular their
regular stipend. Yeah. This is like their bonus. Versus like their salary. Like they get that, they have that ACH set up with Uncle Joe for their regular money.
Who can't eat at school because they owe like $20. But sure, yes. Let's go ahead, and the biggest budget of the US is the military budget.
Yeah.
But somehow we're in debt. Love that. But still,
literally our foster care system here in Tennessee is so overrun that children are sleeping in cots in our state capitol building right now. I don't know if they still are, or if it was the state capitol, or if it was just the office of DCS. But anyway, children are sleeping in cots at a government office. So we can't spend money on that.
Why? You know, like, why would we do that?
Yeah. So it's infuriating and disgusting, and that is the part that makes me feel angry and like the shame piece, because like we are funding it, we are enabling it, and I went so long with just out without questioning it. I really did, and I feel very ashamed about that. And it's really like, I mean, this is part of growing as a human, is like having things illuminated to you and like processing grief and shame about being wrong about things. And
but it's been a lot I've learned very quickly, but it is also, and again, I feel like anytime I say something like, I'm not trying to make this about me, this is not about me, but
we're not experts
on my job.
We can only talk about our own experience of this situation. True. Really
focusing on my job, I mean, it was already done before, but now I'm like, girl, I know you're not crying to me about getting an upgrade because you don't want to drive in this lady was like, I'm not driving in anything that's not a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Girl, I do not care. Walk. Like, go fuck yourself, okay? There's actual real shit happening in this world, and this is what you're bitching about. Like, I just want to tell people this on the phone. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? But
this is just how we deal,
or don't care, or are pro-Israel, and I'm just like,
It's just late stage capitalism of like
God,
the entire world. Like I'm literally watching, like I'm literally going from like making my coffee, watching a child die on my phone.
Yep.
And then I just need to pivot and be like, okay, everyone, here's the issue log. It looks like we have a few open defects right now that we're working to resolve.
After lunch, like I was telling Andrew, my TikTok FYP is mostly videos about Palestine. I also have been, which I would like to bring up, that in learning about Palestine, I have also been seeing people raise awareness, and I have been trying to learn about what's happening in Congo and Sudan.
Yes,
I don't know as much yet.
No,
but I'm going to get there.
I'm going to educate myself because it seems like that's a whole bunch of fucktonery, and we should caveat that is also happening, but neither of us is yet.
Yeah. And what makes me, again, back to shame, is I had heard a little bit about this with Congo, because I remember whatever the mineral is something that's in like smartphones, what they need for smartphones. And I just was like, my brain does not have it today.
Yeah.
And now seeing it come back, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize it was that bad. But of course it was just something, we scroll, but it's weird.
Well, also we can't, like, I do want to give people grace, because your brain is not designed to handle this much horrible news.
Yeah.
It didn't evolve that way. We used to only know like 100 people in our little tiny village. Okay, like, you have to find the balance of staying informed and being a citizen of the world, because for better or for worse, these phones tell us all this shit.
Yeah.
With also just like having some grace about like, you can't be an expert in anything.
Yeah.
And in everything. You can't know everything that's going on. There's very sadly too much suffering happening for any one person to really know.
Because I saw something about, was it Armenian people?
That was an old genocide.
Oh no, something new.
Oh,
so maybe it wasn't Armenia.
Oh, okay.
But
that was an OG genocide in Turkey. Yep.
I saw this girl who made a video because she was a child in Bosnia in the 90s, and she's now an adult. And I'm like, sweet Jesus. But
I can't.
Scrolling on TikTok is very strange, because the majority, I would say 75 to 80% of the videos are about Palestine or Congo or Sudan, or just something in the realms of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, I watched 3 of those, and then like, here's
and then
Halloween
Keith Lee
costumes, or a get ready with me, or Keith Lee Take It Down Atlanta.
Yeah, and which we will talk about.
I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, I feel bad. I shouldn't. It's just weird. Our reality is strange.
I think I trained TikTok because I was not able to be on there very much because it was so much. It's like it's got a nice blend now. It's like half and half, which is I think what my brain can deal with.
Yeah.
But there are some really, we'll post that John the Duncan video, because I thought it's 20 minutes and it explains what genocide is, like legally and philosophically, like what that concept is. I thought that was really helpful. Hassan Piker had a historian of Palestine on to debunk this really viral propaganda video from Israel. I don't know if it was officially from the state of Israel, but I don't know. Anyway, we can link that. Like, there are things you can do to educate yourself that are not as violent and graphic. So I encourage people to do that, because I love history. So if nothing else, it's very sad history, but it is very interesting.
Yeah, that have a lot of information that's not just. I mean, if you want to see violent stuff, Eyes on Palestine is going to show you all of it.
Yeah, Al Jazeera English.
Yeah,
appreciate them.
There's a lot of because I've been trying to follow, and there's some people I follow who aren't in Palestine or not Palestinian, but like either are in Palestine or have family in Palestine that I've been seeing a lot, because then they're sharing updates. So just take a little time.
Just a little, and
I feel like we owe them that much.
They're asking us to watch. Like, that's what a lot of them are doing, is saying like, and they're posting in English. And the reason they're posting in English is because they know that they will be heard if they post in English versus in their native tongue. So like, I think it's something that we can all do, is to watch if they're asking us to watch. Yeah, because when we're looking back on this, it's like, how did this happen? It's very clear how this happened. Yes. But you know what? On the hopeful note, this last weekend, huge, like the largest protest ever in London.
Yes, I saw
So
Turkey,
there's
I think.
yeah, Turkey,
New York, all
New
the
York,
the Jewish
Paris,
Voices for Peace in New York. Of course,
the Grand
those
Central
worthless
Station.
cops wanted to come arrest it, but they were out there and they were chanting and in their shirts, and I loved it.
Yeah, we should say there are some great Jewish
author on
Sim.
Yes, on TikTok
Obsessed.
and Instagram.
Preaching
Serving,
words.
slaying. Yes.
Their book, I believe, hit the bookshop.org bestseller list.
Yes.
Which I love that for them. But Jewish Voices for Peace, I think that's what they're called. Love the work they're doing. Not in our name, I think, is like a really powerful slogan. Yeah, there's reasons to be hopeful. I feel like this time they can't like it's so naked what they're doing.
Yeah.
That I don't think. I don't know. Yes. Also learned that the Irish continue to slay.
Oh my God. Yes.
Their parliament, when they're like talking about things, I'm like, yes, Sean. Yes, Siobhan. Yes, whoever.
Yes.
Neve. Yeah. We love all of
They're not fucking around. They're like, oh, absolutely not. You will get no money from me, Israel.
Yeah. And they're like singing "Zombie" at their rugby matches, which is like
they said no Palestinian flags. They're like, oh, I brought whole stadium
from the river to the sea, baby. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't want to whitewash and say like it'll all be okay because like I don't know that it will, but I do think, there's hope. There's reasons to think that maybe
have to keep on keeping on.
Yeah, we got to keep our eyes on it. That's why
pace yourself a little bit.
You got to pace yourself.
Jessica.
And that's why they did an internet blackout, because they know people are hearing it.
Yep.
So
they're like, oh wait, people are actually seeing this. We can't. But then there's still journalists who have SIM cards and they have.
Yes.
And did you see how they're mad at Elandria, who said,
"Oh,
he didn't even say I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to give them internet." But they're like, oh, so you didn't straight up say you would absolutely not give them the internet? We don't want you.
Well, Elandria said that he would provide internet to reputable news sources, I think, which not great, but an okay compromise. He's actually an example of somebody, though, who is an anti-Semite using this potentially as a chance to be anti-Semitic. I don't know. Because he's been going on and on about the Anti-Defamation League and how that's why Twitter's going down the drain. So like,
I just hate this man so much and hate that he has control over something so powerful and useful to people.
Yep. I do too. And we'll talk about it because
there's a part.
We heard you loud and clear. Everybody was like, I want the part 2. And I have so many. I got additional stories from people that I didn't even have. So
to have my jaw on the floor. The audacity of that cretin.
This man is. Yeah. But anyway, he's, I think, trying to get internet to at least the journalists. And I feel like Al Jazeera English has done a pretty good job of having connectivity through most of it, even with the blackouts.
Yeah. At one point,
something I never would have.
I had their live
2001, Mara would never have thought that I'd be like loving Al Jazeera's coverage of this, because we were so like Al Jazeera, like
ew, gross.
Yeah. And now I'm like, oh, turns out like a super helpful news source. Thank you, Al Jazeera.
I just want to say shout out to my younger self who didn't know why we were so anti-America when 9/11 happened in 8th grade, and my math teacher.
What you said? Why we were so anti-America or
anti-America? Like Okay, this is so off topic, but anyway, I've always had this
obsession with. You were so anti-America. Oh, gotcha. Okay, sorry.
I was like this weird obsession with Switzerland, and then 9/11 happened, and I'm like, see, there ain't nothing good about this country. Like I stopped standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. My teachers were pissed. I just did not. I have the frame of mind for why, but I was just like, no. And now I look back, I'm like, look at you, girl. I just wasn't with the shits.
Yeah.
Maybe because I knew Muslim people, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, me and my fundamentalist school,
But look at you now.
We pledged allegiance to the flag, then we pledged allegiance to the Christian flag, and then we pledged allegiance to the Bible flag.
What do these flags look like?
I forget what the Bible one looks like, but the Christian one is like white with like blue and like a red cross. Yeah.
Just think, if you were in Texas, then you would have had another Pledge of Allegiance to the state of Texas.
It would have been even more. Yeah.
God,
yeah.
Take up an hour.
Yeah, I was pledging every allegiance I had.
Wow. It's been an hour. That was a lot.
I know, and I feel like we didn't even scratch the surface. But this was really just us reacting to this news, not like trying to actually. Yeah, we'll put some resources below, but you got to do that yourself. Honey. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, my light went down and I was not getting up to turn on the light, so I got a little flashlight.
No, I liked it. I was like, look at this spotlight on Jess tonight.
But yes, just learn a little bit and that's just like. I understand there are some people who like never share on social media, whatever, but it bothers me when I see people that I know are online constantly. And rest in peace to Matthew Perry. But like, so this is what you could post about, but you couldn't post about anything else that's going on for the last 3 weeks. That's very interesting.
People are like, it's complicated. I think that here's a friendly tip. I don't think that's gonna fly anymore.
No.
Like and again, ignorant party of me, like. Been there, but like 2021, I learned a lot then.
Yeah.
And now
you gotta
it's
not complicated, and you could just take an hour out of your day, not even 20 minutes here, because there's just some informative, even like 5-6 minute TikTok videos, or you can find a YouTube video, like just substitute one of those things.
Learn about the Nakba. I think that one's very sad, but very informative. Like even if the graphicness is if you can't deal with that, like dive into some history.
Yeah. The there was a TikTok and it had a bunch of quotes from various people in the Israeli government or military. Echoing what you said earlier, basically, of their plan is to get all of those people gone. And I'm just like,
yep.
And then you hear also the fucking racist piece of shit senators and people and representatives from America who are like, just raised them to the ground. And I'm like, what?
They're literally calling Palestinians animals.
Yes.
I mean, like, literally, that's what you say when you're about to commit genocide. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just...
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. If you find yourself saying that another human being is an animal, like, you really need to pause because, like, you're about to do something very dangerous.
I just don't understand, even for, I guess, maybe people who consider themselves more progressive, but who aren't super progressive, or stuff when they're like, oh my God, like, how did slavery happen? Or because somebody was like,
you're what? Right. You're working it.
They're like, God. So this is what it would have been like if it was like, if this was slavery, because hello, they sold people. And so I'm just like, what do you mean? And so when they say you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. It's like, but we know it and we're still repeating it. That's what's driving me.
You've got to know it in the sense of not just like good history. Yeah. Good history, I think, changes you as a person because it like makes you engage with what humans are capable of. And if you can do that, then it becomes very easy to see the parallels of what is happening now.
I mean, the depravity of human beings, and we don't, that just could be never like ongoing. Because obviously we know about slavery in the US and we know about the Holocaust, but things that we don't get talked about are like, what was it, Leopold was it Belgium or wherever? Like,
oh my God.
We don't even, everything, or the Armenian genocide, or what happened in Kosovo and Bosnia. Like, we don't even get all of that. We get like, they're like, okay, well, this happened. I feel like I had more education about the Holocaust than U.S. slavery. But like, they're like, okay, this happened and this happened.
I did. We had more education about the Holocaust.
Like, but America, woo, we fought for independence, honey.
Or like
that tea in the water,
the genocide of Native Americans, where it's like, hey, like you get this unit at the beginning of of the year of like, look, these are the different types of Native American cultures, and then they just don't come back up again. Weird how that works. Yeah. Maize, you've got like these deerskin cute little shoes.
Let's make a cardboard feather headdress.
Let's name the different kinds of dwellings they had. And then it just never seems to come back up. Like, where did they go? What happened to those Native Americans? And by the way, if a Native American who was being violently expelled from their land circled up and attacked a group of white settlers, I would say that was wrong. I mean, I think murder is wrong, but would I understand how that came to be? Yes, I would understand how they got to that point.
But
we don't learn about, but anyway, you have to learn about these things and like internalize
we get
what,
like
why, and how, so that you can recognize it when it's happening in front of you.
Yes. I feel like the foundation of a U.S. education history-wise is to just make it known how terrible it was under the British, and that we had to
pay those taxes on the fucking tea.
And now we're this wonderful free country, not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Light on a hill.
What else?
A light on a hill. We're the example for the rest of the world.
Best, that sound on TikTok, what is it? United States of America, best country in the world.
I do like it when people use, like, normally I'm a leftist, but whenever there's this word, it's like, USA, get on up, motherfucker.
My pronouns are USA. Or like when people coming back from like Europe or something, they go to Target and they're like, normally. But, you know.
We're very good at indoctrination. We're very good at national pride. We do those well.
Nationalism, woo-woo!
But we don't do introspection and just like honest acknowledgement of how we choose to wield our power.
We don't. And to not like this hasn't been heavy, and not like you don't already have some homework, but I would like everyone to Google Project 2025 and get terrified with me.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Nope. Google Project 2025.
That's a tab I'm going to keep close. I don't know what that is, and I do not want to, based on the way you're talking about it. I'm not going to look it up, so I'm going to remain in blissful ignorance because we're about a year away from 2025. So I don't want to know. I don't want to know if you're playing me. Keep it on the low. My heart can't take it anymore, okay? I don't want to know.
I mean, every day I'm like, more. Yeah, why not? The existence of being a human is very heavy.
Consciousness is a real two-sided sword. I look at my cats and I'm just like, you got the right idea, baby. Like you're just taking a nap. You're yelling when you don't have food. I love it. Literally. This is what I should do.
Nigel sunbathes, and then he's like, scratch my belly, feed me, Seymour.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
That also really upset me. I saw people trying to leave with pets and they couldn't, and that was also so sad.
I just, yeah.
I know that's a minor thing in the scheme of things, but it's it's just like that human connection of like the love you have for your family and for your pets and just your home.
Even obviously I do not understand Arabic, but even just hearing hearing them when their loved one, I mean, because these are people in flip-flops, in jeans, digging in rubble with their hands.
In flip-flops.
Yes.
Walking in 10 miles of rubble trying to find food.
And I saw one of the people that I follow who's there. She's like maybe 24, 25, Bisan.
Yes, Bisan. And then there's a girl journalist and a boy journalist.
Motaz.
Yes. I never remember their names because I just know their faces, but I'm like, oh good, you're still okay. Okay, good.
It is literally the other after the blackout. Like I didn't see. I was like refreshing. I'm like, no, where is she?
I was like checking the comments of like, has anybody seen them? Like,
but what was the video she posted? I already forgot, my brain. But she was saying that it's getting colder and showing the videos. There's kids that are barefoot, people in flip-flops that, they have none of these things. Or when she was saying with the, when the communications all went down, that they can't even call each other, or like no one can call for like their 911, which is, I forgot the number. And so they basically were having to either follow the bombing, like the ambulances, or somebody would like have to go, they would be like, because the only place that had light for a while was like a hospital or outside the hospital, and people would basically have to run on foot to them to be like, come back here to try to go rescue people. And imagine it's all, how do you navigate around rubble?
I don't know. And I mean, the other thing we didn't talk about, but like the longer this goes on, the more disease is going to set in.
Because it's already getting into winter. It's just already in a regular place, cold, flu. But then you think of not having clean water and having lots of
clean sanitation. It's bad. So I encourage, we didn't feel like we could just go on when these were our tabs that were open and that this was heavy on our hearts. So we felt like we needed to pop in.
I'm glad we did.
I am too. And this is really, hopefully you guys can tell, this was really just like our reaction to things. This was not us being like experts, just like
no expert takes.
Just kind of us processing together and with you this horrifying situation that we can't really do a whole lot about other than continue to like bear witness and make it known that we do not support this. I encourage people to donate, to learn about the history, keep watching. Don't let fucking Uncle Joe and old crusty what's-his-face in the UK, don't let them forget that we know that they are being shady as fuck and we don't agree. So, yeah. Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Okay.
Project 2025.
Don't. I'm not. I say don't. No. Next time we're gonna do some TikTok mess. I think
lighten it up a bit.
Lighten it up a little bit.
Keith Lee is eating the girlies up in Atlanta, and I am living.
He got candy together today with Old Lady Gang, and I'm like,
Atlanta is a made up place. It's Cloutsville, USA. So this was long overdue.
I need him to come to down. So. Anyway, we'll talk about it. Downtown Nashville, because it's the exact same situation. And I'm like, Keith, get the girls together. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about
Combat Gel Lady,
the DIYer who didn't want somebody to DIY.
That's still like that.
That one gassed my flabber. Like, and Lauren the Mortician, who's gone full mask off.
Wow.
So.
I knew I should only have. I knew I only had room in my heart for one mortician. That's Caitlin Dowdy.
Ask a mortician.
Holy.
And she's the one I will ask, because she actually has some real experience and some respect. Anyway, TikTok. We'll do some TikTok mess. Yeah. We know you guys like that /
We still don't know where the money is, if y'all are wondering. I don't know.
Oh, we don't. Though many people commented that it must be going to the side piece, which makes sense. But the side piece is living in HUD housing, so what is the side piece spending this money on?
Maybe a little bit, but it's there's a stockpile somewhere.
I don't know.
There's an account somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, people like that one.
Well,
and we like reporting.
Tabs, maybe. Ish.
We're just gonna continue to monitor these tabs.
Yeah, look. The amount of tabs I be having open, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Like literally though. The amount of tabs.
I group mine, so it's okay.
On my laptop, not so many, because it'll start to act a fool. My phone? Please.
Yeah. Jess, where can people find you?
Well, Jess Owens on YouTube. Sometimes I make videos. Said by Jess on everything else. What is everything else? TikTok, Instagram. That's really the only place. You can probably find me on Goodreads. I can't tell you what my name is. I don't know. But that's kind of it. Yeah.
I'm at Books Like Whoa, those same places. And Jess really does look like she's about to have a seance. So, which is appropriate because we're filming this right before Halloween. So, woo.
I mean, what's
real life is horrifying.
Talking about the U.S. government
real life
and
is
things
evil.
They fund.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything more horrific.
Yeah, basically. Okay, well, on that note, we'll thank you for listening. Stay safe out there, and we will regroup with happier tabs next time. But thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.